A man spent 9 years in a prison cell with absolutely nothing. No chessboard, no books, no one to talk to. And yet, when he walked out, he sat down across from the reigning world chess champion and beat him. How is that even possible? By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why your brain can't tell the difference between imagination and reality, and how that fact can either trap you for life or completely transform you. This man's name was Natan Sharansky, a political prisoner held in Soviet Russia on false charges. Most of his sentence was spent in solitary confinement, no contact with anyone, nothing to occupy his mind. But he loved chess, so he did something unusual. Every single day, for years, he played complete chess games entirely inside his head, both sides, move by move. No board, no pieces, just his mind. When he was finally released in 1996, he met Garry Kasparov, the world chess champion at the time, and in a moment that stunned everyone watching, Sharansky beat him, a man who hadn't touched a real chessboard in nearly a decade. Here's the science behind why that's possible. Your brain does not fully distinguish between something you physically do and something you vividly imagine in detail. There's a well-known study out of the University of Chicago. Researchers split people into 3 groups. One group physically practiced basketball free throws every day. A second group only imagined practicing free throws, mentally, with no ball in hand. A third group did nothing at all. The result? The group that only imagined practicing improved almost as much as the group that physically practiced. Both groups dramatically outperformed the group that did nothing. Why? Because vivid, detailed mental rehearsal activates the same neural pathways as the real action. Your brain doesn't just imagine the skill, it trains for it. Now, let me show you the same principle working in the opposite direction. When trainers want to control a baby elephant, they tie one of its legs to a small stake with a thin chain. The baby elephant pulls and pulls, but it's too small to break free. Eventually, it stops trying altogether. Years later, that same elephant grows into an animal weighing over 12,000 pounds. It could snap that thin chain without even noticing. It could pull the stake out of the ground with a single step, but it doesn't, because its brain never updated the belief. Somewhere early on, it learned, I cannot break this. And that belief got locked in, long after the physical limitation disappeared. That elephant isn't held back by a chain anymore. It's held back by what it was trained to believe about the chain.
This is exactly what happens with people, through the words we repeat to ourselves. If Sharansky had spent those 9 years repeating, "My life is over, there's no hope left," he would have been mentally training just as intensely, just in the opposite direction. Same mechanism as the chess games, opposite result. And if that baby elephant could think in words, its inner voice would have said, "I've tried and I can't. This is just who I am." That belief became so deeply wired that it survived long after it stopped being true. Every time you tell yourself, "I'm not good enough, I always mess this up, I'll never change," your brain doesn't just hear a comment, it logs it as a rehearsal. And through neuroplasticity, the pathways you repeat get stronger, and the ones you don't use start to fade. Most people are walking around as grown, capable elephants, still convinced they're tied to a stake they could break in one step. So, what do you actually do with this? First, start noticing your self-talk. Most people repeat negative self-talk dozens of times a day without ever realizing it. Awareness is the first step, because you can't retrain what you don't notice. Second, words alone aren't enough. Sharansky didn't just repeat, "I'm a great chess player." He mentally rehearsed the actual moves in vivid detail, as if the board was really in front of him. If you want to build a skill or a belief, imagine it specifically, not just affirm it vaguely. Third, test your own chain. Ask yourself, what's something I've assumed I just can't do that I never actually tested against who I am today? You might be the elephant who's stronger than the stake. Let me tell you about someone I know personally. She has a physical disability. She can't walk properly, something most people would assume comes with a heavy emotional weight to carry. But her mental strength is honestly something I still don't fully understand. She doesn't get shaken by people's opinions. She doesn't flinch at trolling or judgment. She moves through the world like none of it touches her. And when I really thought about why, I realized it comes down to exactly what we've been talking about. Her parents never let that chain get installed in the first place. From the beginning, they told her, again and again, stay unbothered by people's opinions. You are above all of that noise. For you are the most important person in your own life. That wasn't said once. It was repeated, like training, until it became who she is. Most people's limiting beliefs got installed by accident. One offhand comment, one failure, repeated by nobody else but themselves, over and over until it hardened into identity. Her parents did the opposite, on purpose. They chose what got repeated. And because of that, a chain that could have easily formed around her, I'm limited, I'm less than, people will judge me, simply never took hold. She is proof that the training works both ways, and that sometimes the people around us plant the belief before we're even old enough to choose it ourselves.
Positive thinking isn't magic. It doesn't rewrite reality on its own. What actually happens is simpler and more powerful. Whatever you repeat, in your mind, out loud, or to the people you love, becomes a form of training. And that training eventually becomes capability with nothing but a memory. My friend's parents trained her mind toward strength with nothing but repeated words. Same brain mechanism, 3 completely different outcomes, because the direction was different, not the mechanism itself. So next time you catch yourself saying something to yourself, pause for 1 second and ask, is this training my mind for strength or training it to stay tied to a stake I could already break? If this shifted something for you, subscribe, because every week we break down exactly how your mind is quietly shaping your reality, and more importantly, how to take control of it.